Am I wrong in thinking that social anxiety is your biggest enemy? For most people, social anxiety is not only their biggest secret, it's also their biggest enemy. And it makes a lot of sense, because if you're experiencing something that's so limiting and causes so much suffering and it's so debilitating, why wouldn't you be at war with it? And that frustration and anger at the problem, it's fuel to do something about it, right? Well, yes. Some frustration and anger towards the problem can definitely initiate action towards overcoming it. But if you're already aware of the problem and you're already doing your best to overcome it, is this frustration and anxiety still all that helpful? Or is it just another layer added to the already existing problem? Unfortunately, it's the latter. Ongoing frustration and anger just fuels the anxiety flame. And when anxiety gets triggered, it stays around for longer. And of course, it massively adds to your suffering. Now, I experienced this myself. Whenever the anxiety would get triggered, I'd get furious. Why the hell is this happening to me? Why are others having such a good time? And, I felt so out of control. And, I also felt hopeless, helpless. And I was afraid that I would have to live with this anxiety for the rest of my life. Can you relate to some of these feelings? If so, put it in the comment section below, because you'll see that you're not the only one who's experiencing these feelings. This is a very common experience for people with social anxiety. Okay, little warning. The following that I'm about to share is something that you might not like hearing, something that might upset you, and it might even get you to think, this guy's an asshole, or he doesn't understand the degree of my suffering. Or you'll love it and you'll feel very empowered. This mindset has empowered me tremendously, and I still use this frame of mind or this perspective with any big problem that I face in life. So, at the risk of upsetting you, here it goes. What if social anxiety isn't this curse that you're doomed to live with for the rest of your life? What if it isn't this genetic misfortune that's ruining your life? What if what you think social anxiety is isn't what it is? See, social anxiety is absolutely a debilitating, limiting, and painful, difficult problem to deal with. But the way we think about it determines whether we surrender and give up and live lives of quiet desperation, or whether we see it as a challenge to face, own up to, and take action on to overcome. Now, if you see social anxiety as this mental illness that you're dealing with that you can't overcome, how do you feel? Right, you feel horrible. Why me? You feel you're dealt a really bad hand, and that life is really unfair and that you're at the mercy of your unfortunate circumstances. But what if you started seeing social anxiety as a challenge that life is giving you, and that by working through this challenge, there are huge rewards on the other side? I mean, that's the truth. Social anxiety is actually a challenge that you can overcome. I've done it. You can go to my YouTube channel and find lots of video testimonials of clients who've done it. You can go to my podcast and you'll hear psychotherapists and PhD researchers rave about the amazing results that are being created when you use tapping for anxiety. So it can be overcome. And the results that you accomplish as a result of getting rid of the anxiety, which is just a symptom of the deeper underlying problem, are profound. The freedom, the inner liberation, the inner joy, the resilience that you get as a result of this are really, really worth it. Would you be willing to consider the possibility that social anxiety is actually happening for you? See, people tell me things like, I'd love to travel the world, but I can't go because of my social anxiety. I'd love to get into a relationship and start dating, but there's no way I can do that because of my social anxiety. Or I'd love to get a promotion at work, but that's not possible because of my social anxiety. Now, of course, there's a lot of truth in what they're saying. And in some cases, it would even be a bad idea to go for these things because it's way too far outside their comfort zone. But still, That attitude of I can't because of my social anxiety, will that lead to you living your dreams? Or will that lead to you just giving up before you even started? Now, to be clear, what I'm not suggesting here is that you forcefully face your fears, push through it and, all that kind of stuff, and that you do things that are way too far outside your comfort zone. What I am inviting you to consider is to see social anxiety as a challenge that is happening for you. And that when you take that challenge, it's going to lead to you evolving and growing yourself into a more happy, more empowered, more resilient version of yourself. And by having that perspective towards social anxiety, that you're then going to take action on the predominantly internal journey to go from social anxiety to social confidence. See, here's my experience, both personally, receiving a lot of sessions and overcoming my social anxiety, and giving a lot of sessions. I logged over 5,000 coaching hours solely with people with social anxiety. Every single time anxiety gets triggered, there's an opportunity for growth. For example, about 4 years ago, I started social dancing. I started salsa dancing. Took a couple of lessons, and eventually you then go to a event where people are actually dancing, right? And so I felt anxious when I got there. I was having thoughts like, okay, the girls don't want to dance with me. I'm awkward. People are looking at me being awkward. I look bad. These guys look cool. And, so I was having all of these negative emotions and negative thoughts. Now, this was not, to be honest, excessive because, I wasn't dealing with social anxiety in my life already anymore. So this was just a new challenge. But still, I was experiencing anxiety. And so I could have said, I want to dance salsa because I see all of the benefits, meeting great people, meeting attractive women, being part of a worldwide community, doing something fun every night, and so on. But I can't because of social anxiety. But I didn't do that because I instead saw it as, hey, this is another opportunity for growth. There's some anxiety that's being triggered. So not only am I going to get all of the benefits if I overcome this, but there's also internal growth that's going to happen. Because clearly there is some old trauma or some old disempowered ways of seeing the world that are still happening here because I'm experiencing anxiety. And that's not helpful. And so I can work through this, and then afterwards I'll live a more liberated life. I'll have more joy. I'll have all of these benefits. And, so let's go for it. Let's take on this challenge. Now, of course, I didn't like the anxiety, but I had worked through so much of it in the past already that I knew, okay, this is just going to be a temporary thing. And so it was, and I worked through it, and it didn't take long. And within a few weeks, I was comfortable on the dance floor, even though I looked like a complete dork. And as a result of that, I would just go social dancing all the time. And it takes a lot of practice in order to get better at it. And now, it's been a long time, and my life has been completely transformed as a result of it. I gave up drinking like a decade ago or something, and I never really had a good replacement for it in the evenings, especially in the weekend. I wasn't drinking every day, but in the weekends, like, what am I going to do in the weekend if I don't drink? And now it's dancing, and I go to these festivals all over the world. I met my girlfriend on the dance floor. So it has all of these benefits, and these benefits likely wouldn't have been there in my life if I didn't see the anxiety as a challenge, and I didn't move forward, and I didn't lean into it and take the opportunity for growth. See, social anxiety is either a curse or it is a challenge that you can take on to evolve yourself to the next level of confidence, emotional maturity, joy, inner liberation, and all the benefits that come with that. So, how are you choosing to see it? When you see the anxiety that gets triggered as a challenge to do your inner work and to heal the emotional wounds and the limiting beliefs and negative fantasies that get activated by it, social anxiety becomes a lot more bearable. And while you'll of course never love it, because it's so painful and debilitating and limiting, seeing it from this perspective, and it is also a truthful perspective, it's going to soften that frustration and anger and helplessness and hopelessness. And instead, it's going to help you feel more empowered and take action towards living the life of your dreams. So, what is it going to be? Is social anxiety a curse, or is it a challenge? Choice is yours. Now, if you want to learn more about this particular perspective, I suggest checking out this particular video, and it will shift your idea on what social anxiety really is, what social ease really is, and what is required to get to that place. Go check it out right here.